Wow, what a ride. Season 1 of The Last of Us has just wrapped up, and I am so happy it turned out as good as it did. This show is the perfect example of how to adapt a game into a show. I have nothing but praise to give to Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin for their amazing work bringing this game to life. Shout out to the cast as well for a great job. I thought the characters and the relationships that developed between them were fantastic, especially with Pedro and Bella, the two main characters in the show. It was all great. I played the game a few years back, but I still thoroughly enjoyed the story being told again in TV form. I was actually sad to see this season wrap up already. I actually wanted to see more of Ellie and Joel. I love the chemistry specifically between those two. Even I noticed it back in the beginning, back when Joel and Ellie hated each other early in the story. It just seemed like Pedro and Bella clicked, and their relationship and their work together just took off from there as the season went on. And in terms of the world building, I really like the way they talked about and introduced the cordyceps in the show early on. I think this was a fresh take on the whole zombie apocalypse genre, and the whole concept of a fungus screwing up the world and killing people and infecting them was a nice idea in my opinion. And the purpose of this show was not fighting hordes of infected people. It was not about blood and guts, cutting heads off, or mowing down a horde of enemies with a machine gun. It was about the people that were left. It was literally about The Last of Us. And I think a lot of people unfamiliar with the game and its story were mad about the lack of action because of this. And I'll admit, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more action in the show because the encounters in the game were pretty intense. Didn't matter if you were fighting other humans, other survivors, or even those intense moments of trying to sneak around and kill the infected people. And I was a fan of episode 3. I thought Neil and Craig enhanced the story of Bill and Frank in a nice way. It did put an emotional weight on what it is like to survive in this type of world. And I never played the DLC in the first game, so seeing an episode entirely dedicated to that story was awesome. And honestly, I think it was needed because we need to see Ellie's origin story on how she gets infected. I think people need to see that. I'm glad I was able to see that. We also saw when she was born in the finale, we saw her mom. The scene in the beginning of the finale also puts more emotional weight on Marlene, the fact that she had to not only kill Ellie's mom, but then save Ellie for basically nothing because of what happens at the end of Season 1. It just makes that hospital scene much more emotional, and it makes you kind of feel some type of way about Marlene more than I even felt back when playing the game, even though I felt bad for her then too, because I did not expect that ending to actually happen. And I was so happy to see the voice actors from the game get the opportunity to have roles in the show. It's a nice way to honor them and let them be a part of the show because the show exists because of them, because of their great work. I also loved having this mixed bag of emotions throughout every single episode. 1 minute you're smiling because of a nice bonding moment between Joel and Ellie, and then the next moment it turns into heartbreak because of a character death, or someone gets bit, or just something unexpected happens, or all of a sudden here comes an encounter. And I don't think I felt as emotional as I did during the finale. Despite knowing what happens already, I really felt it when Joel was trying to change Ellie's mind on finishing the journey, and just when you think Joel might have changed for good, he crosses the point of no return and does the unthinkable. He slaughters the Fireflies to save Ellie and basically deny the world of their opportunity to have a cure. It is truly one of the greatest endings to any game or story overall. We have too many stories that have good endings, and I honestly need a break from the good guy beats bad guy every now and then. This show provides that. There are no winners in this show. There is no happy ending. It is a show about the constant struggle to survive while juggling morals. You may love Joel, but he is an anti-hero. He's a hero to Ellie, but he's also a villain to quite literally everybody else as he tries to protect her, and he goes, as we see by the time you get to the finale, you realize he will go to any great length to protect her. I really don't have much to say negatively about the show. The only issue I really have isn't a big deal, it's more of just a personal preference, but as much as I like the world and the character building with the episodes that featured Bill and Frank, Ellie and her friend at the mall, and even Marlene and Ellie's mom in the beginning scene of the finale. But I wanted to see more of Joel and Ellie. I wish Neil would have created 2 brand new episodes that weren't from any major moments in the game. I wanted a little more from Joel and Ellie's perspective. There was so much cool stuff going on in the show, but I believe the spotlight needed to focus on Joel and Ellie just a little bit more than it did. There was a lot of time jumping from one big moment to the next. I would have loved to have seen some stuff that happened in the middle, and again, something brand new that maybe wasn't in the game. Because truthfully, I have all the confidence in the world that Neil and Craig could have cooked up something nicely if they were able to make an episode or two from scratch. But like I said, this is like the only complaint I had with the show, and it didn't really affect my enjoyment. It's just really a personal preference, like I said, just an overall thought. Well, I guess I have one more thing to complain about in regards to the show, but it really has nothing to do with the show. It's about people. I really hated the criticism this show received in regards to episode 3 and Bella Ramsey specifically. The people that complained about episode 3 and saying that it was gay propaganda need to just go away. Get out of here. Leave. But before you go, actually go look up the story of the show, or go on YouTube and watch the cutscenes from the game, and go look up a summary of the game's story, and you'll see that, hey, they have gay characters and stories within the game. This was not forced, and there was no propaganda. Sure, they adjusted the story a bit and added more to it, but who cares? Again, the story is about those that are left. If you wanted more of an action-oriented show with hordes of undead being killed with chainsaws and axes and machine guns and shotguns, well, you needed to look elsewhere for that. Then you have the ridiculous comments that were made even before the show came out, people complaining about the way Bella Ramsey looks, and it's just unbelievable how toxic people are. Like, if you're gonna criticize the show or criticize Bella, do it on her acting or the writing. You know, complaining about the looks of even Pedro as Joel is ridiculous. It really is annoying. You know, people have this weird obsession with the way people look, and it also goes in the other direction too. These people will complain about Bella's looks, but then at the same time, they will go salivate over somebody like Jenna Ortega. Can y'all just focus on the quality of the show instead of worrying about the looks of young girls who are just barely of age? Also, Bella does identify as non-binary, so I'm sure that made people mad and go after her because of that. So, if you hate the show for these reasons, then just don't come back for season 2. We don't need ya. And yes, again, you can have issues with the show, no doubt about it. You can have criticism, but at least be reasonable about it, and I think a lot of the criticism came from people that were unreasonable, complaining about these stupid things that I just mentioned. So season 2 has been announced. However, Mazin and Druckmann said that they plan on making the events of season 2 take place over more than one season. Now, I won't dive exactly into the events from the second game for the sake of those that haven't played it, but if you did play the game like I did, I'm sure you are just as glad as I am to hear that they are not going to rush the next season. There's a time jump of 5 years in between game 1 and 2. I would like to see some more adventures of Joel and Ellie before things really take off. Those who have played the game, like I said, know what I'm talking about, and like I said, Pedro and Bella have done a great job, and I think they deserve to keep going before you start doing some of the other stuff that took place in the second game. And like I said, I want to give the opportunity for Druckmann and Mazin to cook. Give us some new content, enhance this story, enhance the world, create more stuff. I'm absolutely here for it. I really don't want them to rush into the second game, and thankfully it sounds like they're not going to. This first season kind of went quick. If they could slow down the pacing in season 2 and truly stretch out into a season 3 with the second game and the events that take place, I'm going to be extremely happy. So overall, I love this adaptation. This show features superb writing and acting. Other shows like the Halo show should take frickin' notes when it comes to adapting a game into a show. Oh, and if you own a PlayStation but haven't played the games yet, go play them. You're going to have a great time. You're going to love them. What did you think of the show? Let me know in the comments down below, and then of course like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching and take care.